You know what's interesting? I keep seeing the same thing happen over and over again, and no one's really talking about it publicly. People from Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, they're quietly buying lake homes around Castle Rock Lake, not announcing it on social media, not making a big deal out of it, just buying. And a lot of them are doing it before their friends figure out what's happening. Now, I'm a real estate agent, so I have a front row seat to who's actually buying and why. And over the last couple of years, I've noticed patterns. The same types of buyers, the same reasons, the same light bulb moments. Today, I want to walk you through the 10 reasons why people are quietly buying lake homes near Castle Rock Lake and Lake Petenwell. And I mean the real reasons, not the brochure version. And if you're watching this from a condo in Lincoln Park or a subdivision in Waukesha or somewhere off the Beltline in Madison, some of these might hit a little close to home. So let's get into it. Real quick, I'm Jess Kayhart. I'm an agent with Castle Rock Realty. I live and work right here near Castle Rock Lake and Lake Petenwell. I help people buy and sell their lake homes. That's what I do. And I'm not here to give you some generic lake living is a great pitch. I think you already know lake living seems really nice. What you might not know is why the buyers I work with are actually pulling the trigger and why so many of them are doing it quietly without telling their whole network until the deal is already done. So let's go through the 10 reasons. And I'll warn you, a couple of these might make you rethink whatever you're paying for right now back in the city. Reason 1, the Lake Geneva sticker shock is real, and Castle Rock Lake is the antidote. Okay, let's start with the elephant in the room, or I guess, elephant in the lake. If you're from the Chicago area and you've even casually looked at lake homes, you've probably checked out Lake Geneva, maybe Delavan, maybe Lauderdale. And you probably, I'm guessing, closed your laptop and said something like, well, that was fun while it lasted. Look, Lake Geneva is beautiful. It is. It's also priced like you're buying a small European country. You can drop $1.5 million and still need to renovate the kitchen. And good luck finding a boat slip. Then there's the traffic and the crowds and the feeling that you paid Lake Como prices for something that feels more like Schaumburg with a dog. Castle Rock Lake is different, like fundamentally different. You can still find new construction lakefront homes, brand new, starting in the high 3s, low 4s. I'm talking private sand beach, walkout basement, access to a boat slip on Castle Rock. The kind of property that if you picked it up and dropped it 2 hours southeast would have a 7-figure price tag and a bidding war attached to it. And the buyers I work with who come from the Chicago suburbs, they notice this immediately. They walk through a spec home here, they see the finishes, they look at the price, and there's this moment where they kind of blink a few times and go, wait, that's it? That's a direct quote, more than once. So reason number 1, you get Lake Geneva quality waterfront without the Lake Geneva price insanity. And honestly, that alone is enough for a lot of people, but it gets better. Reason number 2, taxes that don't feel like a second mortgage. All right, if you own property in Illinois, you might want to sit down for this one. I had a buyer from the Chicago suburbs. I won't say which suburb, but let's just say property taxes there are not a joke. And when we were going through the numbers on a lakefront home here, he literally stopped me and said, wait, is that per month? Nope, that was the annual number. The property taxes in this part of Wisconsin, Juneau County, Adams County, are a fraction of what people are paying in Cook County, Lake County, DuPage County. And I'm not talking about a small difference. I'm talking thousands, sometimes tens of thousands per year. Now, for a second home buyer, this matters enormously because when you're running the numbers on whether a lake house makes sense, the monthly carrying cost is everything. And when your tax bill is lower than what you pay for a weekend at a resort, the math gets pretty easy, pretty fast. A lot of my buyers tell me the tax savings alone, compared to what they'd pay on a comparable property closer to Chicago, basically covers their boat payment, or their HOA costs, or half their utilities for the year. So reason number 2, Wisconsin property taxes make the ongoing cost of ownership dramatically lower than what Illinois buyers are used to. And once they see that number on paper, it's hard to unsee it. Reason number 3, the 3-hour sweet spot. There's a real science to the second home distance thing. Too close and you never feel like you've actually gotten away. It's just an extension of your regular life. But too far and you never go. The house sits empty 8 months a year and every trip feels like a logistical operation. 3 hours is the sweet spot. And Castle Rock Lake, Lake Petenwell, is almost exactly 3 hours from Chicago, 2 hours from Milwaukee, and about an hour from Madison. 3 hours means you can leave after work on a Friday, a little early, maybe skip that 4:30 meeting that could have been an email, and be on your dock by sunset. It means you can wake up Saturday morning, decide you want to go to the lake, and be on the water before lunch. It means you don't have to plan your whole weekend around travel. Compare that to Door County, which, by the way, I love Door County. But from Chicago, you're looking at 4.5, 5 hours, depending on the traffic. Minocqua, similar story. And the traffic on a holiday weekend, forget it. Castle Rock is close enough that people actually use their lake house. It doesn't become that thing they feel guilty about not visiting. And that's something my buyers talk about a lot. They don't want a property that feels like a chore. They want a place they'll actually go to. And this distance makes that possible weekend after weekend. Reason number 3 is the perfect distance. Far enough to feel like a getaway, close enough to actually get there. Reason number 4, space, like actual breathing room. Here's something my Chicago buyers say constantly, and I mean constantly. I didn't realize how much space I'd have. And they're not just talking about the house, they're talking about everything. The lot sizes, the distance between properties, the fact that your neighbor isn't close enough to hear your conversations from their deck. I have this story I love telling. I've got 2 clients, 2 couples who lived 2 streets apart from each other in a suburb of Chicago. Knew each other, friendly, saw each other at block parties and school events. Both families ended up buying lake homes up here, completely independently. They didn't coordinate it, they didn't plan it, and they ended up buying homes right next to each other. They had no idea until after both those deals closed. They literally discovered at closing that they were going to be lake neighbors, 2 streets apart in Illinois, next door here. That's the kind of thing that can happen here. The community is tight-knit without being crowded. You can actually breathe. You're not stacked on top of each other the way you are in a lot of the more popular, and let's be honest, more congested lake destinations. So reason number 4, it's the space, real space. Room between you and the next house, room on the water, room to actually relax. Reason number 5, the private lake communities are unlike anything else. All right, this is where things get really interesting, and it's something a lot of people outside this area don't know exists. Around Castle Rock Lake and Lake Petenwell, there's this unique setup where you have these private lake communities, smaller, man-made lakes that are connected to the lakes themselves through boat slip access. So you get the best of both worlds. You have your own private sand beach on a smaller, quieter, crystal clear lake where you can swim, kayak, or paddleboard. There's no wake, so no big boats buzzing around past your dock. It's peaceful, it's relaxing, and you have total control. And then when you want to go water skiing or tubing or take the pontoon out, you just walk or drive over to your boat slip on Castle Rock Lake, which is Wisconsin's 4th largest lake, by the way. And you have access to 16,000 acres of open water. It's a setup that almost nowhere else has. You don't have to choose between the quiet, private lake and the big recreational lake. You get both. Places like Copper Point, Stone Gate, Clearwater, Half Moon Bay, Odell's Bay, Northern Bay. These are communities designed around this exact concept. And once buyers see it, once they understand that they're not sacrificing anything, that they're actually getting more than they'd get on a traditional lakefront, it's usually the moment that gets the decision made. Reason number 5, private lake living with big lake access. It's the setup that closes the deal. Reason number 6, the market is steady and smart buyers know what that means. Let's talk market dynamics for a second, and I'll keep this pretty straightforward. After the frenzy of 2020 and 2021, when every lake property in the country seemed to have a bidding war, things really did level out. Prices stabilized, inventory came back to a healthier level, and for the last couple of years, we've been in this window where the market is steady. Now, here's what a lot of people don't realize. Steady markets are when the smartest buyers move. When the market's on fire, everybody wants in. Fear of missing out drives prices up, and people make rushed decisions. When the market is cooling off, everybody gets nervous and sits on the sidelines. But when it's steady, that's when you can actually do your homework, negotiate from a position of strength, and buy before the next wave. And there will be a next wave. Lakefront property is finite. They're not making more shoreline. The migration patterns out of big cities, especially post-pandemic, have not reversed. Interest rates won't stay where they are forever. At some point, the window tightens again. So the people buying right now, they're not panicking. They're not chasing. They're moving very deliberately, getting good value, and positioning themselves ahead of the next surge. That's why reason number 6, the market is steady It's in a healthy place, and that's exactly when insiders make their move. Reason number 7, you're not competing with tourists every weekend. Lake Geneva on a summer Saturday? Good luck finding parking. Door County during peak season? Hope you enjoy sitting in traffic on Highway 42. Castle Rock Lake doesn't have that problem, not even close. Partly it's because the lake is so big. There's 16,000 acres that it absorbs people really well. There's plenty of water for everyone. Partly it's because the area hasn't been overdeveloped with tourist infrastructure. You don't have 6 resort towns ringing the shore, each with their own festival and parade and 5K happening on the same weekend. What you have instead is a lake that still feels like a lake. Boating, fishing, swimming, bonfires. You've got quiet mornings with coffee on the dock. You can go out on a Saturday afternoon and not have to fight for space. You can find a quiet cove. You can actually relax. And for people coming from Chicago, where everything feels crowded all the time, this is almost hard to believe at first. I've had buyers say to me, "Where is everybody?" And I'm like, well, that's kind of the whole point. That's why reason number 7 is Castle Rock Lake isn't overrun. You can actually enjoy your weekends without feeling like you're at a water park on a holiday weekend. Reason number 8, the year-round factor. A lot of people think of lake homes as a summer thing. June, July, August, maybe Memorial Day through Labor Day if you're ambitious, and that's it. You close it up in September and don't see it again until May. Here, it's different. Fall at Castle Rock is spectacular. The colors, the cool air, the fishing. Fall walleye fishing on Castle Rock is some of the best in the state. Winter, you've got snowmobiling, ice fishing, cross-country skiing. The area doesn't shut down when the temperature drops, it just changes. And buyers who understand this, they're not buying a 3-month property. They're buying a year-round escape. They come up for Thanksgiving. They do a winter weekend with the snowmobiles, spring fishing trips, and fall color weekends. The property works harder for them because there's a reason to always be here, and that changes the value equation completely. If you're only using a place 12 weekends a year, the per weekend cost is one thing. If you're using it 30 or 40 weekends a year, it's a totally different story. That's why reason number 8 is that Castle Rock Lake is a 4-season destination, which means you're buying a year-round lifestyle, not just a summer house. Reason number 9, the community is real. It's not a resort. Here's something that surprises a lot of my buyers, the sense of community up here. They come in expecting a vacation vibe, which is fine, you get that too. But what they find is actual neighbors, people who look out for each other, people who grab a drink together at the local spots, people whose kids become friends. This isn't a resort where everyone's a stranger and you're just a rental number. The developments around Castle Rock and Petenwell have real year-round residents mixed in with the seasonal folks, and that creates this genuine neighborhood feel. And because a lot of buyers are coming from the same places, Chicago suburbs, Milwaukee, Madison, the Twin Cities, and Minnesota, there's this instant common ground. You end up meeting people who get where you're coming from, literally and figuratively. That story I mentioned earlier, the 2 couples with the same Chicago suburb who ended up next door to each other here without planning it, that's the kind of thing that can only happen in a place that attracts a certain type of person. People who value the same things: space, quiet, water, and community. And it makes the transition from weekend visitor to part of the neighborhood happen a lot faster than you'd expect. That's why reason number 9 is that it's a real community, not a resort. You'll actually know your neighbors, and you might even like them. Reason number 10, the secret is getting out, but not fast enough for most people. All right, so here's the last reason, and it's the one that ties everything together. People are quietly buying lake homes near Castle Rock Lake because they've done the math. And they know that once a market like this gets discovered, really discovered, the window doesn't stay open forever. We have seen it happen over and over. A place is affordable, uncrowded, under the radar. Then a few articles get written, then a few more. Then a developer comes in with bigger projects, bigger prices, and prices start climbing. Then the crowds arrive, and suddenly the thing that made it special, the quiet, the space, the value, it starts to fade. Castle Rock Lake was literally called the Midwest's best kept secret by the DuPont Registry. You don't get called a secret forever. The people buying right now, the ones being quiet about it, they're not trying to hide anything. They're just not in a hurry to tell everybody how good they have it. Because the more people you know, the more competition there is for the next property, the next boat slip, the next buildable lot. So that's reason number 10. The people who know, and they're moving now, while the market's steady and the prices still make sense. They are not waiting for the headline that says Castle Rock Lake, Lake Petenwell is the next new hot market. Because by the time that headline drops, you're already sitting on their dock with a cold drink, watching the sunset, glad that they didn't wait. So there they are, the 10 reasons people are quietly buying lake homes near Castle Rock Lake and Lake Petenwell. Let me just run through them one more time for you really quick. 1, the value compared to Lake Geneva, Door County, or Minocqua is just on a different level. Number 2, property taxes that do not feel like a punishment. Number 3, the 3-hour sweet spot from Chicago that makes weekend trips actually doable. Number 4, you get space, real actual breathing room. 5, it's private lake communities with big lake access, and it's a setup you don't find in most places. Number 6, a steady market where smart buyers can move deliberately, not desperately. 7, there's no tourist crowds. You can actually use the lake. Number 8, 4-season living that makes the property worth it year-round. Number 9, a genuine community and not a resort. And 10, the secret's getting out, but not fast enough to close that window. If any of this hit home for you, if you've been thinking about a lake property or you're just curious what the numbers would actually look like for your situation, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send me a message right here on YouTube or Instagram, wherever you're watching this. Send me a message. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for, and we can set up a quick buyer consultation. It's no pressure, no commitment, just a conversation. I'll help you understand what's out there, what makes sense for your budget, and whether this area is the right fit for you. And if you're not ready for that yet, hit subscribe. I'm putting out content like this regularly, market updates, property tours, all the stuff that'll help you make a smart decision when you are ready. Thanks for spending 20 minutes with me. I'm Jess Kayhart with Castle Rock Realty. I'll see you out on the lake.